thing about cypresses, though, is that they have these really cool things that are sticking on the ground that you guys can probably see from up there. Even some of my other friends that are around here. These are what we call cypress knees. So they got little kneecaps, just like the rest of us, right? And like our kneecaps are helping us with stability, this helps the cypress with stability. Okay, so it's one thing to have your roots go straight down. It's a complete other for them to spread out, up and down and up and down. And that allows it to really succeed in these wetlands, okay? So this cypress tree right here, for those of you who have never seen one, it's these ones with the really, really wide bases. All of these knees are from this one tree. Friends are kind of joining us. I did have one of our fellow hikers just ask me, I just saw a no fishing sign. Does that mean all of Old Hickory Lake is no fishing? No, actually we even have other places where you can fish in the park. But the area that we've been hanging out in so far is a federally protected wetland, which means that you can't fish there, you can't boat there, you can't kayak there, you can't swim there. And you might say, Abby, that sounds like you're the fun police. And that's right. That's a big portion of my job, is making people not have fun, right? No, not at all, right? We want you guys to have fun, but our mission is to preserve, protect, and share. That's the Tennessee State mission for Tennessee State Parks. Preserve, protect, and share. That share comes last on purpose. I want to share everything with all of you, but I can't share it if it's gone or if it's not safe, right? And so that is kind of our mission, is to keep things safe so that we can share it. So this area behind us, you'll see some buoys we'll pass in a little bit. That is marking the end of the protected wetland zone. You are allowed to fish in that area. You are allowed to boat and kayak in that area. You're not allowed to I stopped here because there are two trees that I really like to talk about that are close by to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and just go over them real quick because I know a lot of people coming into state parks love the outdoors but don't know where to start with the education side of things. And so this is a good start, is just picking one or two things that you can identify throughout your entire hike. Okay, and so we're going to start with one of the rare ones, and then we'll move to one of the super common ones that you'll see in our area. So this is one of our rarer ones. This is a shagbark hickory. I did pick it because it is my favorite tree. I love the way it looks. It's super kind of rugged, and it has a couple of different features that are really important ecologically. So the main thing obviously being the actual bark itself. Super shaggy appearance, but it actually is pretty hard, right? So I can kind of push down on it a little bit, do some fun things with it. And that feature allows different animals and specifically bugs, but in general animals, to hide in there, to grow, to stay warm, to get out of the elements. And so it's a very important tree for just the entire ecosystem. Another thing that I love about this bark, when it has kind of gone through and is no longer viable, it will just kind of flake off. You see this one's a lot looser than this one right here. If you can't see, that's all right, but just seeing how much give it has. Once it's loose, people would peel it off and then soak it in a sugar syrup and make shagbark hickory syrup, kind of like maple syrup. It tastes like an in-between maple syrup and honey. It tastes incredible, but it is something that you have to be very careful when actually doing the practice. So if I were to rip off this, that hurts the tree, right? You guys have already learned a little bit about how trees are pretty sensitive with their bark, and so you have to be very careful at what you're actually peeling. And so that's our shagbark hickory. There's only a few on park, so if you happen to spot them and point them out to me, you get extra credit, right? And then the other ones that are kind of strewn all over our area is our eastern red cedars. There's this one right here. There's this tall one right here. They're all the way around this big one right there with the trail marker. Those are our eastern red cedars. Funnily enough, not a cedar. It's a horrible name. Not a cedar. It is Americanus juniperus, and so it is a juniper. And so does anyone know what juniper trees are most often used for? Gin. Yeah, we've always got someone who spits that answer real quick, right? So they are used for gin, so you will be able to smell them, and it does have that kind of floral scent to it, similar to gin. Another thing those berries are used for is a natural insect repellent. So if you ever store those up, rub them on your hands, break them up, it smells really good, and the bugs don't think so. So that's just a fun little trick that a lot of people have used with our cedars. You can also use their bark after it's shed to make cedar incense cones. So many different ways that you can use the trees around us, as long as you do it in a safe and respectful way for the outdoors. So we do have classes on some of those things. As I mentioned, we have different courses coming up throughout the year. You're welcome to look at those whenever we get back to the Visitor Center. But without further ado, we'll keep walking. This line is as far as we're going, because I don't want someone being like, well, back up a little, and then right off the end. So this is our line.
Is this the fun part, Ranger Jack?
I would say so.
This is the point where we're fixing to go up.
Yes.
I remember.
The last stretch of calm and peace that you're going to get.
Yeah, we'll do it when we get home and the dog can have a kiss.
Well, I can't speak to that. I can only speak to the height.
Mm-hmm. It's an amazing view once you get up.
that's a bad situation. And those are great questions. So, right over here, this is all private property. It is a cattle farm. And one thing that Jack has not had the privilege of doing, but it's in his job description, is wrangling cows. Because barbed wire fence, right? And so there are plenty of times that I'll get a call out, hey, there's a cow on high ridge. Actually, there's 3, you know, and you got to come out here and figure it out. So many jobs that ranger include cowering. Another thing you guys noticed was probably the rock walls. We actually don't know a lot about origin of the rock walls. Best that we have been given for answers is that they were sometime in the very early 1800s, and they were slave or servant built property lines. That's kind of the best guess, but they don't have exact mapping of everything that was done during that time frame. But we know that they are in that early to mid 1800s time frame, and most likely not built directly by settlers, but by so just a small part of the history that, like many other pieces of history that wasn't down, kind of guess. You can kind of see that it's got some points to the end of the leaves. This is our most oak in the park, and really in Tennessee. I like to think of the red oak kind of has this flame-like shape with all the sharp points. It's like a dark campfire.
I think I mind.
Right? That's what you're getting with our red oak. Our red oak have thinner acorns. And they are Stanford oaks, looking like that one right there. This really big, tall tree, that is our red oak. Our white oak, however, has these really circular lobes to it, kind of like a cloud. So imagine a kid drawing a cloud with a really big circle root. That is our white oak. The white oak has white features like a cloud. And then our red oak is like the fire. So that's how I call it. This is the white oak tree. As you can see, it's got some similar features to the shagbark that has some bark to it where bugs and other things hide in. And the ones that have the bugs in them also means that they're really good for our woodpeckers as well. They really like these trees. Lastly, their acorns have a lot more nutrients in them, so the deer like way more. So if you want to deer in your yard, you plant that white oak, right? But unfortunately, the white oak is actually declining in population. And so every year we hold a white oak collection initiative do that pretty fast. And it is something where we will go out and we will collect white acorns, and we will send them out to a tree nursery for them to develop more trees to then plant in Tennessee to kind of reclaim that white oak forest. And so that's just something to look out for, the small differences between the white oak. The red oak, they're a lot harder to tell when they don't have their leaves on, so don't worry, that's cool. Here was one of my favorite things to talk about, and I actually heard a brand new name for it. So, I don't know, what do you call this? Have you heard of this before? What do you call it? Monkey brains. That's the most common one, especially among kids, is monkey brains. What do you call it? Hedge apple. All right, what was the other one I just heard? Road apple, right? So that was a new one for me, so now we all get to learn something today. So these are also called crab apples, or not crab apples, sorry. We said it a second ago. It's Osage oranges. So these are Osage oranges. They are more in that citrus side of the family, less of an apple. And so when you can break them open when they're a little bit fresher, this one's kind of gross, so it'll be a little gross when I open it up. It does have that citrusy smell, and it is something that the deer absolutely love, right? So these are all over the road and other things like that. So whenever I saw them in the road this fall, my favorite thing to do was run them over, and that was because it opens them up really easily for everything to eat. So as long as you're not swerving into the other lane, if you want to drop a few of these apples, right? Then you can break it open. The squirrels love it, the raccoons love it, the possums love it, the deer love it. It's got a high sugar content, so it's perfect for this winter time where they're trying to get as much energy in before everything kind of starts to die off, right? So everybody loves these, specifically the deer, and so that's just something you can learn a little bit more about the Osage orange. Another thing about the Osage orange, its name comes from the Osage people out in Oklahoma. And so Oklahoma and that area is really common for these. They were well-known archers. The Osage people are well-known archers, and they use the Osage tree because it is extremely flexible and bendy without breaking, and so they make perfect bows for hunting. So if we see an Osage tree, I'll point it out. They're always kind of in this weird yoga pose type thing where they're all sorts of wiggled up and they are fun to look at.
That's all she wrote for the first day hike of 2026, Bledsoe Creek State Park. Thank you. Special thanks to Ranger Abby and Ranger Jack for an excellent, to being excellent tour guides. Happy New Year.